Hello, welcome to our Sterling Armory Sword Talk. This is episode a number 17, I think. We actually haven't recorded a Sword Talk in quite a while because we've had a big show that we've been doing just finished up, and we've had a lot of events going on and then a lot of other things happening. So getting back to Sword Talks, so we're recording this December 1st, and it'll drop in about a week or two. But glad to get back to it. And we got a fun couple of topics today, and we're going to basically give you a good status on how the show went that we just did, what we did, and get into a few other topics. And then January and February of next year is quite busy for us. So let's go ahead, and joining us today, we have... Well, what is that?
I asked Tari if she had the thing that makes it brighter because the hat shades my eyes, and she put it on the bare brim of my hat and assured me that this is how it goes. And I couldn't tell until the recording just started happening, and then it scared the shit out of me. I look like a White Walker with a beard and lipstick on.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you may not want to use that there.
I can turn it down.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there we go. That's what. Oh, no.
That's still not good.
So bad. So bad.
Ow. You put that on the laptop facing you.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, we got it.
Alrighty.
I can't see.
Serves you right.
So real quick, if you're new to the channel, my name is Chris, and I started Sterling Armory a long time ago, and this is our Sword Talk podcast, where we talk about everything sword related, and we grab a drink, and then we just get drunk and have fun talking. So we're all a bunch of sword makers, by the way. I didn't mention that. That's important. So Josh, do you want to do a quick intro?
I'm Joshua Warbear. I started Sterling Armory a long time ago, and
and I like to party.
I like to party. Yeah. No, Joshua Von Warbear. I started Warbear Armory a while ago. At first, it was Dark Archer Design, and then I switched it up. But I can be found at Warbear_Armory on Instagram or Joshua Von Warbear on Facebook.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Colton? Or Dr. Magenstein?
Just today.
Yeah.
Dr. Magenstein.
Exactly.
Magenstein.
Yeah, so I'm Colton from Copperthorn Customs. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or on the Sterling Armory page.
Awesome. Yes, before we get into the conversation, what all are we drinking? Colton, you have the exciting one today.
Oh yeah, I've got a iced coffee with brandy. Trying it out for the first time. Pretty good.
Is it good, by the way?
I don't think I made it very well, but it has potential. It's drinkable.
There's a lot in there for that not to be made well.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. It didn't seem like that much creamer, but I don't know. Who knows? It's all right.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I love the creamy beige. The creamy beige is delicious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've been sick since our show we just did. So I have a good mix of mead and then like a throat tea, which is really good. So basically a honey tea with mead mixed in. Highly recommend if you have a sore throat, which I do now.
Yeah.
And Josh, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Robitussin Adult DM. I earlier had chugged a little bit of what I thought was Dayquil. It's NyQuil, so I'm a little loopy right now.
No.
It's gonna balance itself out. It's fine. We're good. And water. I've got a healthy dose of water.
There you go.
Because I am also sick, and then gave it to Chris right away. So
with how you do
my
that.
last act of visiting Florida was infecting NASA with a nasty virus.
So we've had a lot happening. We haven't been able to record in a bit. So my computer died, and then we've been doing Sarasota Medieval Fair for the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks. and then making blades for that show prior to that. And then we just had a lot of busy time. So before that, we had Salt Lake Open. And so it's just been one thing after another. So Salt Lake Open went really well. We sold a bunch there. Actually, we sold all the sparring blades we did, or we had, which wasn't many, but we still sold them all. And then Sarasota was interesting this year. We didn't sell as much as we used to, but granted, we had 2 hurricanes slam that area of Florida down where I'm at. So
and like 3 Renaissance fairs going at the same time.
Yeah, and that as well. So everyone,
Ridiculous.
all the booths said, the sales weren't as good, but we still sold a bunch. And we'll be posting the pieces that we have left over. We'll be posting online as soon as I get a chance to, get images going. Excuse me, I'm crazy right now. But Josh was down for Sarasota. Thomas was also down for a little bit. We were hoping Colton could make it down, but maybe next time.
Maybe next time, hopefully.
So yeah, but I think overall the show went pretty well. Colton, I think you only have 1 dagger left of all the ones you had.
Sweet.
Yep.
Is that right? Is it just 1? Yeah.
Correct.
I don't remember.
One dagger.
And then
it's the mustard grip.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Which is funny because that's the one that most people picked up.
It's kind of been that way. I had it at the Salt Lake Open as well, and it got handled a lot, but just hasn't moved.
And then Josh had a couple daggers, actually a lot of daggers, so right?
Yep. I think I have two left, 3 left.
Yeah.
One cut me pretty bad.
I had that. If you follow us on our Facebook page, I did
That's too bright. Can't see it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you follow us on our Facebook page, I did a brass and stainless wire weave mix on one of the longsword handles, and I didn't think that was going to go at all. And we had a rain day, so before Josh got down, one of the weekends, it was raining all day long. And normally when it rains at a Ren Fair, you don't get many sales. But we had a guy come in and looked at it right away and said, "I want that one." And I was like, "Oh." So the rain day was actually my best sales day.
Nice.
And yeah, it was. He liked it a lot. And then I ended up selling the Irish ring hilts always go. So I sold the green handled one, and then Colton, we have yours here still. Yeah, it was pretty good overall. Josh, do you want to say anything more on that? Or?
Nah, man, you said it. Sarasota, it's fun fair, not as profitable as I would have liked, but I think that's a benefit that we have going into it. Is we're just a few guys that want to show up and see friends and have fun, and if we sell swords, it's kind of just a cherry on top of the sundae. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and thanks to everyone. So I had a lot of guys come out saying that they had seen and follow our sword talk and follow the Oak Shop series that we're doing, which was really cool. Yeah. Actually, the first weekend there was a guy who came out. We talked Oak Shop topology for probably 2 hours in the tent, so that was cool. Yeah.
Thank you to all the friends that showed up to view to hang out with me while I was back in Florida. I missed all of you. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then in that time as well, Josh became not only an Instagram star but a TikTok star, right? And what else?
No
Facebook.
No TikTok. No TikTok. Just a reel. I think a reels. Yeah. What the hell? I mean.
So our cutting videos. So we did the cutting video for Arms and Armor.
Yep.
Which ended up winning. I don't know if we talked about that on Sword Talk yet.
Yeah.
But we won. So thanks to the guys.
I don't think were we first place, or did we just win a $100 gift certificate?
Yeah, we weren't first. We were one of the places.
Right. Yes. I think it was like most creative.
Yeah. I'm glad they liked it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun doing that. And we kind of just threw that together last minute. So yeah, that was good. That's actually our most viewed video on our YouTube page right now. So,
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nowhere near the views as Josh the Superstar.
Oh man.
So
guys, when you get as attractive as I am, and also as good at cutting bullshit and looking into the camera in slow motion, you can do it too, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So which one do you want to see first? Because we got them here so you guys can watch with us.
Oh man, just start slinging them at me. I don't prepare for nothing.
Actually, let me make sure this loads right. I'm not quite sure how to load. Here we go. So Add the stream.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
You want to give a
Yeah.
setup before I hit play? Or-
Yes. So this I posted on Instagram, just goofing off. Colton had brought over his new Viking sword, which is a frigging beautiful piece. Oh my god! As we both have said, there's like as is traditional of most Viking swords. There's not a lot of space between cross and pommel for you to get your hand in there with a nice solid. There's not a lot of room for spillage of the skin, as it were. So, but it cuts like a dream. It is glorious, as seen in this clip. And the clip is just like an average slow motion cutting video, and it's one of, I think, the first times, embarrassingly enough, I've cut a bottle and the bottom of the bottle has stayed on the stand and the top has fallen off. And you can even towards the end see me about to reach for the bottle to drink out, like, yeah, victory. But I posted it and I think it got like 1,000, 2,000 views, something like that in the first like day. And then 2 weeks later, it got like 60 or 65,000 views overnight. And like, I don't know, 7,000 likes and like 15 comments. And of course, most of the comments are like people that I know going, "Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, nice. Ooh, good cut. Saw you going for that bottle for the victory drink, all that good shot." But there's a couple of them that I guess it started going viral, quotation marks, in Spain or somewhere, because there's a couple of them that are Spanish speaking, or you can tell that the translation's not quite there. One's just like ... you are need a doctor, or you need a doctor, and then the other one translates from Spanish to something like, that is too dangerous of a sword to carry in a car. You'll be pulled over by the cops. And then a couple are haters, and they're like, well, that was fucking boring.
Yeah.
Or, wow, just wasted 18 seconds of my life. Or, that kind of crap. And just kind of like, what? So, yeah, and I, of course, was in Georgia on vacation, having dinner with my family. And then I probably pissed Tari off because I was just on my phone for the better part of 4 hours, just like, the Instagram notifications are like a countdown timer. They just keep going.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if it got shared on the Instagram like homepage.
Maybe. I also posted on Facebook, and Facebook only has like 1,200 views or 2,000 views or something like that.
Yeah. So let's take a look real quick.
Yeah.
Play.
Look at that. See, you got a nice. You can see my eagle eyes connecting with the bottle. I'm looking at where I want to cut. Nice, a clean approach there. A very horizontal movement. Yep. Boom. Yep. You saw me take that half step, reaching for the bottle, and just a clean cut. And Colton actually got the first cut. Perfect. He's the one that did the same. Half empty bottle of water standing on the post, and then we had to redo it because we didn't film it the first time. And then when I tried it just sent it off the post, like just completely fudged it. And then I tried it that time, not even caring, just like, man, whatever. Oh, it worked. Oh, that's good.
Do you still have that blade, Colton?
Yeah, I've still got that one.
So then we have the other video. So that one was Instagram.
Instagram, yep.
And then the next one is Facebook. Is that right?
Probably. I share both. I share all of them to Facebook and Instagram. Oh, look at this. Beautiful approach, jumping, flying eagle's talon drop. The best part about this video is Colton was like, it just looks normal when you're doing it, but we slow it down. It's so epic.
Yeah, no, like, so I wasn't expecting much. He just kind of jumps. It's like, oh, that was cool. And then we watch it. It's like, damn, that was awesome. Like,
and then this one's the double cut of Smolder, the double-eyed Smolder. You see, I get my cut in right there. And then I turn and look at the camera and then tilt my head with like, and then I realize,
rolling.
Yeah, we're not doing a super slow-mo, so it just keeps rolling. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay, second cut. Here we go. So I throw it around. I go up for the approach. I sling that right leg back. And before the right leg plants, I start the swinging of the sword. And then, boom, really, really close to destroying that sword on the 4x4.
Twice.
Right there in the corner.
Yeah.
The first one, the eagle drop one where I'm just like, there's that Smolder still going slowly in the background. Just, ooh, almost got it.
Let's go back to that first one. Here we go. Right?
Yeah, that first one. So yeah, we were just playing around like, what do we do? So I just jumped up and did it really quick. And really quick, it wasn't impressive, but we watched it in slow motion, and my head stays like a chicken when you're moving it like this. It stays really still, but my legs just keep going up like a cartoon character. Weirdly enough, it's just I don't know what I was channeling that day. It was definitely, you know, some type of an action movie star. But I nailed it. It was right. It felt good. And I think that one on Facebook is sitting at like 29,000 views. Just, you know, not a lot of views compared to like something, you know, the greats like Kanye or, you know, the Kardashians would post, or Mr. Beast, or someone with any kind of thing. Still not too bad, from like 1,000 a day to all, you know, excuse me. But yeah, so that was a good cut. I like that one. You know, I think I'm just going to start dressing up in costumes and doing more cuts.
I know, yeah. So we're going to do a couple sword talks in the future, kind of focused on cutting, because there's a lot of, we have a cutting competition coming up in January. And the HEMA community there's been a lot of discussions on cutting and stuff. So we want to bring on some cutting experts from all over HEMA and all over, hopefully different arts as well, to talk about, you know, cutting. And but that'll be a future sword talk. And one thing we did want to talk about today. You good?
Maximum strength.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yep. So this is our sick day sword talk.
Yeah, sick talk. Let's do it.
But today we want to. So at Sarasota, and then also at pretty much every HEMA event. Anytime we're selling swords anywhere, one of the biggest questions asked, I think it's one of the biggest, definitely at Sarasota, was, do you have scabbards with your swords? So we were going to talk about a little bit about scabbards today, and why we sometimes, or why we usually don't, but you know what we're thinking about doing to maybe get scabbards, you know, a bit, hopefully a bit easier, and it'd be nice to be able to supply them per blade, but so I don't want to speak for you guys, but for me, like, I usually don't do scabbards because they're expensive. So occasionally I have one here where I did like just a wood core, and so
nice.
But this wood core is you know, the cheap, not cheap, can't say cheap, but the easier way to do the wood core. But it's a pretty beefy wood core. So when I do these for blades, it's basically the poplar stacked up. So this is 3 layers of poplar stacked. And I don't call this really a scabbard. I call it a storage scabbard because it's great to store your blade in. But like this right now is so chunky that I wouldn't want to wrap leather around it yet. So we will be doing leather on this particular one. So I'm going to thin this out a lot before I do that.
Yeah.
If I were to do that for every blade, this is jacks the price up of your sword, you know, $500-$600. So we tend not to do scabbards because, well, I mean, especially for sharps, you know, scabbards are, if you want a historical scabbard, it's, you know, $500-$600, if not more.
Right. Yeah, depending on options as far as like wood core leather wrapped, risers, hangers, belt, all that good stuff on it. Throat.
And for our stage guys, like, they prefer just plain leather scabbards with no wood core. And we used to do those a lot as well. In fact, Chet, one of our other guys, if you've seen our other sword talks, you might have seen Chet. He has a big leather sewing machine and does leather scabbards. Very popular with the stage guys because, you know, if you're fighting in a show or in a theater and you have to roll or move, you don't want a wooden scabbard attached to your hip, right? So if it's leather, they can move around and it doesn't break the scabbard. And that's very common for them. So we used to make a lot of those, but you can't use those for sharps. So in Sarasota, I almost had this drop. In Sarasota, I had a couple guys ask, like, can you just do a leather scabbard for my sharp? I was like, no, your sword will go right through it. So that's why we don't do those most of the time.
I typically don't do them just because the sword is what I get excited about the most. So once that's done, I'm ready to move on to another sword. However, typically a scabbard is what seals the deal on someone wavering on sales. They'll go, oh, that's a rad sword. Yep. And even if you're like, it comes with a free rifle case, then we'll zip tie it down and you can take it out that way, no problem. They're usually like, yeah, cool. But the minute they see it with its matching scabbard, with hangers and risers, that's usually they're like, oh yeah, I gotta have that now.
Yeah.
Same thing with daggers. Anytime I've got like a simple little sheath for a dagger, it right away sells first. And that's always, like you said, the question most people ask, oh, that's really cool. They hold it, they look at it, and then they're like, just come with a sheath or a scabbard.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And I was gonna say for sharps, when I carry my sharps to tournaments and stuff, I carry them in their rifle case.
Right. Yeah.
And so for us, it's like, I mean, we can get you a rifle case in with the cost of the blade, or we can give you a scabbard that's going to be another couple $100. And
right. Yeah.
So my initial thought was most people would rather have the rifle case. Because, but yeah, it really depends. So what's happened though before, and I think this has happened to you as well, Josh, is I've made like a really intricate scabbard for a blade, and then and remember, everything we make is one of a kind. So
right,
I sold the sword and he didn't want the scabbard, and I was like, well, this scabbard now doesn't match anything else I have.
Yeah,
right.
No, like that they have to. If you've made it, it has to go with the sword, in my opinion. I'm like,
yeah, same, yeah.
It'd be like, oh, well, how much is the sword by itself? I'm like, same price and the scabbard's free or something. Like,
sure,
know, $1,200 for the sword.
That's totally happened before.
Yes.
We're like, how much is the sword? I'm like, 600. Like, how much with the scabbard? And I'm like, scabbard's an extra $300, $350 on top of that. And they're like,
yeah.
Can I just get the sword? And I'm like, no, I'd rather you not. Like,
well, what do you do with it after? Like, in my opinion, like it's a set. It has to go with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not
unless you can standardize your blades enough to where you're like, okay, this blade type will definitely fit this scabbard, so no big deal. But even after that, sometimes that's not the case. I can't tell you how many times, especially Hanways, like when I do the hilted Hanways and I make a scabbard for a sharp, it doesn't necessarily, even though it's the same standardized process for stock removal in the blade type, almost never, I'd say, fits the same modeled scabbard. Where I'll sell it and I'll go, cool, I'll just use it on another. It's a Hanway, it's gonna be fine. And then it goes in until like 4 inches until it hits cross and then sticks. And I'm like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Herdas and Chad have both said, like, even with Albions, like, it's really difficult to have one scabbard fit the same, what should be the same blade. And it's just not. So,
except for probably I'm maybe speaking out of what you call it, a turn on this one. I think Brian Kuntz is the only exception because I think the interiors of his scabbards are like pocket dimensions. They just fit no matter what it is.
Yeah, well, he does the felt lining too, right?
Right. Yeah, which gives extra allowance as well as grip.
That might be a part. I'm guessing, but it might be a big part. Yeah. So yeah, what we're doing is actually we do scabbards a number of ways. So one that I just showed, and then Colton, you have one here. I don't know if you wanted to talk about this one, but
go for it.
So I think is this done the same way that I did mine with the stacked poplar?
Yep.
And it's beautiful fit, by the way, on it.
Thank you.
But so this is a thicker blade, though. So is that 4 layers of poplar in there?
No, it's a 1/2 inch that I tapered down.
Oh, okay.
And so like the socket actually tapers with the blade all the way to the tip, so it does taper out towards the front and whatnot. So
yeah, that's how I do mine as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, beautiful fit because this blade is a 5/16.
5/16.
Yes.
Yeah. Excuse me. 0.3125 at the base. But I love the leather shape you ended up doing.
Which that was a pain, but it looked cool.
Yeah. It looked really nice, and then matching leather throat as well.
Well, and so that's another one for me as to this scabbard kind of has to go with the sword. Is like I made it to match. It's copper with copper on the sword and the scabbard, and then I did a black with the black. Like the color combinations match, and the blade fits it. Like it's made for it. In my opinion, it has to go with it.
Right.
So
So this piece is still available, by the way. Probably won't be by the time this airs. but this goes pretty quick. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's really good. And that stitching up the back is, yeah. So stitching versus glued. So let me get us all back to normal here. How do I do that? So I've noticed on some historical examples that there's not many that exist. First of all, but it seems like some are stitched, but some are glued, pretty much like the handles, where the back of the leather kind of overlaps, and they use some sort of pitch or some sort of horsehair glue to glue everything down. So I was going to try a couple. Basically, what I'd like to do is I would like to provide a scabbard per sword, if I can.
Yeah.
But I gotta come up with a better, quicker way to do it, because right now it just takes way too long, and I'd have to charge way too much. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys have thought about that or have some thoughts.
Yeah, I have a standardized process for mine.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of mine right here. This is built for a larger one. I've rounded off the tip, and then seeing on the back, it's just got just the seam right there. And then I've just stitched that up. So what I'll do is, much like you, I block up the 3 pieces of poplar wood, and then just cut a recess for the blade, glue it down, slide the sword in there when I do it, and then pinch it at the top, like near the throat, and then clamp it down so there's always a little bit of resistance against the blades to ensure a decent fit in it. Then stack it with the last one, glue it, pinch it down. Always remove the excess of glue on the inside as much as possible. Or when you're clearing the glue, you run your finger up along the inside so it pushes the glue on the outside instead of into the recess. And then I take a router and I route down the edges really quick, which helps me, get that beginning line. And then I run it down a belt sander just over and over again to get a nice hollow. Sometimes I'll do a hollow grind and then just do it on the slack wheel, much like this one right here, which is a different one. And I'll just push it against the slack line like this over and over again to get that like round, round contour right there. The tip of this one's falling apart. But yeah. And then right after I've got my wood shape, and just like you were saying, I'll thin it down. So I'll take like an 1/8 inch off of each side to ensure that it's just a much smaller, so I don't have a solid 3/4 bar all the way down.
Yeah.
And then I'll cut out. I'll glue my risers down, measure the biggest measurement, and cut. The biggest circumference around. And then I'll cut out a blank of leather, glue it, make my marks, spray adhesive both sides, lay it down on, thumb it around, spray it again, roll it over, throw a metal ruler on it, razor blade it, put the other side over, razor blade that down, and then just lay it down and press it. I can do the whole thing in like 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just for one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just for one.
So
well, and that's one and your basic process. Like that's not adding your risers, that's not adding the throats or any of your
all the fancy throats or the rings or anything like that.
That like it's your 3 to 4 hours for your very basic scabbard.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
and then I'll add more to it. Sometimes I just lose track of time and I just go ahead and jump on it.
They are
but
fun.
I usually also will just jump on the wood part and then do my grinds, thin it out, and then offer that as the scabbard and charge like $150 for a simple wooden scabbard. And if they want it leather wrapped and exactly.
Yeah.
And they want it fancy, then I'll put a little bit more price tag on it and then spend some time with it.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things that I started talking, my throat just freaked out. One of the things that I'm experimenting with now, I actually just finished it. So I found some thin, like 16th inch thick birch, and actually I don't know if it's birch or maple plywood. I'd like to get poplar, but poplar seems to be hard to find in that really thin veneer thickness. And I think maple and birch are, so basically you want to avoid any wood that has a high tannin count. So oaks and walnuts, they'll rust your steel because tannin rusts metal. It's like it's the acid that wood creates. So poplar's tannin count is almost 0, and I think birch and maple are probably pretty low, close to 0 as well. But they're thin enough that I'm clamping felt around the blade and then clamping the thin sheets around the blade and seeing if it works. So that process took me a half hour. And if it works, which I'm a little skeptical that it's going to work, not that the process is bad, just the way I did it is probably what is bad.
Yeah, just kind of trial and error right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of trial and error. But if it works, I mean, I think that's it, right? That might be the way. And and then the felt lining is so, for anyone who does anyone who knows history on scabbards, I'm not the best at this, so correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I've gathered, a lot of scabbards, especially from the later medieval time periods, they're just wood. There's no felt lining. But if you go from like the Viking era swords up to about 10th, 11th century, it seems like most of those were felt lined, or wool lined, I should say, not felt, felt, but wool lined, and that tends to go away, and I don't know why that is, but it seems to be like if I didn't have the felt in this process, I don't think it would work, right? Because you would end up gluing your scabbard to your blade on accident. So that felt protects you from gluing the wood to the blade itself.
So just a quick, like, as you're saying that, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in real quick here. Saying that, what could you put some sort of just like a wax down your blade when you glue it in, and then you just slide it out and you've waxed the interior of your wood, plus the glue won't adhere to it?
Yes, you could do that.
Possibly. I don't know why we're getting into that, but
yeah, maybe a Renaissance wax or something. Work.
Something crystallizing wax. It'll go on there.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So the way I did it now is I wrapped the blade in it's oiled and then wrapped in cellophane, and then the felt's wrapped around that, and then the wood wraps around that. So the nice thing with the felt though is, so wood, anytime wood gets moisture or changes climate or whatever, it expands and contracts, and I think the felt really gives that cushion for the wood to do that, still be okay on the blade.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope it works. So
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive, and if it works, then great. And I'm kind of wondering if that's what Brian does. Although I'm pretty sure Brian is using poplar, not birch or maple.
I mean, I guarantee you can buy 1/8-inch poplar veneer. You just got to find the right source for it.
Yeah, 1/8 inch. Even the 1/8 inch is too thick.
Or 16.
16.
Something down in that range.
Yeah. So if it works, we'll find out. But so it's actually curing right now, and hopefully tomorrow I still have a sword.
Sure.
That's one of my cutting swords.
Blade's just gone, just disintegrated inside.
Yeah. Just looks like an ancient grave find.
Well, I mean, what? Just coning it. You just hit it on the table and it's perfectly.
Yeah,
good,
you
right?
smack it. All that scale falls off. It's been there for years.
Just like Conan.
Yep,
exactly.
So the other thing that with scabbards is ways back when Sterling Armory was still pretty new. One of my goals is I wanted someone to be able to walk in and walk out with their sword on their hip with their own belt.
Right.
And I kind of got away from that just because the time it takes to do the whole kit, people, I'd have to sell so much that people couldn't afford it. So if this works, then I'm wondering if maybe I can do. There's a lot of historical scabbards have that, especially single hand arming swords have that Z cross for the straps for the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing that a lot. It's almost too much. So there were other versions, and there's some that just have like strap at the top, strap at the bottom. So your strap that goes around your back is a bit lower than the one that goes around your front. And it's a really simple setup. And I mean, there's your belt and your scabbard right there. And so if that works, that might be a good solution for us.
Well, this is my suspension system that I use here. Like this out without dying. All right, there we go. So this is I don't know if I showed you this, Chris. This is the villain sword.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised you still have that.
Oh, I haven't sold it because I don't let people know I have it because I want to keep it.
You just showed everybody here.
Yeah.
So this is what I do as a standardized process for it. After I've done the scabbard, I do the risers, and then I
Right.
do suspension rings, one a little longer. So I put them where the balance falls forward, so it forces the whole thing to go like this.
Right.
And then you put this towards the lower back, and it holds it at a cant, nice and even for you. And I put these on rings so they have room to move around. But this is what I go through everything. And then it fits like an 1.5 to 2 inch belt, and you're good.
So most historical pieces would have a third strap on that,
Right?
and it'd be really easy to do. It basically follows the length of the sword and comes out in front of the guard, and then that reconnects back to your other hip. So I mean, you could do it with how you have it set up right there. And I think they do that. So my personal one, I had 2 on it for a while, and when I walked, I noticed it swayed a lot on me when I walked. And then when I put that third strap on, it kind of locked it in place. So even though it can sway when I bump into something, it pretty much stays locked in place while I'm walking. And I'm guessing that's why they do it. Having that 3 points of
Sure.
Right.
So for long swords, and that's just for long swords, by the way. I don't think I'm sure they've done that on armoring swords as well. And then on rapiers, all rapiers are done that way too, because they hang low on your hip.
Right.
But for armoring swords that are close to your hip, you only need the 2 points. So, but yeah, so I mean, what do we have coming up? So we have cutting competition in Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah, and then Lady of the Lakes Renaissance Fair right after that.
Yeah, and then right after that, not Lady of the Lakes, Hogtown.
Hogtown, sorry, yes, you're right.
Hogtown.
Gainesville.
Yeah, Gainesville, Florida, and then right after that, if we can make it, there's SoCal Sword Fight, which seems like it's huge because they have so many registered people already.
That's a long drive. Ooh.
Yeah, long flight for me. Long drive for me if I drove that.
God.
That would be early or mid-February, right? Second weekend of February. So it's this one after the other. But it would be great to be able to go out and have hey, here's my sword. Hey, here's a scabbard with every piece. It probably won't happen, but that would be nice. So,
right.
Well, so what would you say, with your sparring blades? Would you offer scabbards with those because your tip is flaring out, but you're keeping it the same width as the base, correct?
Right. So yeah, I wouldn't do scabbards for those.
Right. It's like those don't seem quite necessary to have one for it.
I would for special commission. When I say special commission, I mean maybe. But as far as stands right now, I think Chad does such a good job.
That's what I was about to say. No point. Chad's hanger. So Chad has a hanger that magnetically attaches.
Yeah, those are so cool.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that. I hope he's one of the guys we can get on to talk about cutting, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend for anyone needing a holder for the sparring blade. So yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
Well, so I had a question because you were just saying you'd love to have the whole kit, belt, hanger, everything ready to go. Whereas I think your 3-point contact hangers that we were just talking about would work for that. But in my experience, when you're doing your integrated belts that are weaving into the scabbards or whatnot, those are kind of more size specific to the person. Otherwise, your buckle's sitting kind of in a funny spot. You're I mean, I just recently ran into this because I made one that was a double belt. And I mean, the guy's quite a bit bigger than me, just a lot taller, bigger around. And so I made it. And I was I'm going to make it sit clear over here. And then when he puts it on, it'll be normal. And he showed up and he put it on and I was just completely off. And his buckles were sitting on his hip. And I was well, okay. So we popped rivets back apart, readjusted. And I was it's kind of the same with the scabbard. It's the belt almost has to match the person if you're getting into that kind of a system, right? I mean, to a degree, you've got a range, but...
so yes and no. So some of the sword, if it's a buckled belt, then you're more likely gonna fall into that issue, right?
Yeah. So
a lot of the arming sword integrated belts don't have a buckle. They have a big tab of leather that has 2 slits in it, and then basically the other half of the strap is just thin leather frogs, but they're really long. So it could be anywhere from a tiny person all the way up to a 46-inch waist, and it would still work.
Okay.
And because it's not
That's
a
why I
belt,
do That's why I do suspensions the way that I do them, because it's so simple. They slide right on a belt. All you have to do is have a really long belt to fit all one size fits all. They just slip it on and they're done. Sometimes I'll poke holes through the loops as well as the belts so they could either rivet on to ensure that it won't move once it gets through its owner. But yeah, that's just the easiest way to do it, because I've done that before, doing like film work and stuff, where I measure it to me, hoping that if I just loosen it up, the bigger guy won't have a problem. And something always happens where you're like, oh crap, I didn't account for that 3 inches, 2 inches of leeway with this kind of deal.
And the other thing I was going to say is, the other version of that is, instead of a full buckle, you just have the ring buckle. And the way the ring buckle works is, your belt is super long, right? So you pull it through the ring buckle, and then you do the under knot and over and tight and pull tight. Yeah. And that's pretty common. And that can sit anywhere, usually. It doesn't have to be in a specific place.
Yeah. I don't know.
Totally. The other thing we didn't talk about was dagger scabbard. So we've been watching a lot of Todd's stuff lately, and I have a bunch of Todd's daggers, and so the way he does his scabbards for his daggers is he uses I think a 16th inch really thin wood, and it's just 2 slats. They're not even connected, but they sit around the blade, and then the leather pulls everything together on the outside. And the way he allows you to tie that to your belt, basically a frog at the top. And I was looking back through historical examples, and that seems to be everywhere. So I thought that was his idea, like his design, but that's actually, he's pulling that from historical examples.
Cool.
And so you can just use that frog or little thong that's coming out of the back of the leather and just tie it onto your belt. And that seems to be very common. So I might start doing that for dagger stuff too. But
would you say most historical daggers would have a wood core or just a leather, or kind of somewhere in the middle?
I think they'd have the wood. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's like he has it where it's just slats and they're not even attached. I don't know if that would be the case, but maybe. I mean, it makes sense, and it works. So, and then the other tricky part, so for dagger scabbards and regular scabbards, the chape is always a big,
yes.
We don't make our own metal chapes, right? So we can either order some, or we can do, I like the leather chape, and a lot of historical scabbards don't have chapes at all. But I think modern customers expect there to be a chape.
Sure.
So, yeah. So, and also most historical chapes are bronze. So it's very rare to find something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love them bronze chapes. Oh, I love bronze.
I think it's because they're mostly cast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chapes look amazing, but they're such a pain in the ass.
Well, they're totally a pain in the ass. Me and my dad were actually just talking about it. So he actually was a steel worker for a long time out at Geneva Steel and done casting, bronze, aluminum, like all that kind of stuff. And we're just like talking about shapes. And he's like, yeah, we could probably make one of these. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. Maybe we start making our own. But
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I've made them mostly out of stainless or bronze or brass, I should say. And stainless is nice because you start with some sheet and you can just fold it around wherever you want it and weld and clean it. Brass is kind of the same. You fold it around and braze it and clean. So I've done that, especially like the horseshoe shaped ones. Those are pretty easy to do. But it's just more time and more cost.
It's a lot of time. Yeah. Like honestly, those are some of the most time consuming things I've done is sword shapes. Like just God, I hate them. Yeah. Like they look so good, but I hate them.
How much did you spend on those?
I don't know. Honestly, I kind of just got lost in that project, and I don't remember a lot of my time on that scabbard. I was keeping track.
I blacked out.
Yeah, no,
I blacked out. So, and it was there.
I mean, that was like my third attempt because like I hadn't quite done one exactly like that before. But that was I wet the leather, put it around, clamped it, let it dry. Then trimmed it, punched it, stitched it up, glued it on, then stitched it up. So,
see, I wonder if you can get away with doing that, just overlapping and gluing and not having to stitch it.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah, I've done some in leather that I do that method with, where I don't stitch it, I just glue it down. And then I just like get a dauber and barge the hell out of the inside of the recess, and then jam it on there, wet form it, and then clean it up on a grinder the next day.
Yeah.
And just trim it down. Of course, leather, like stitching the leather, it just looks nice, so it's always not a bad way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
I just started rounding mine off and gluing them down. Just no shapes, just done.
Yeah, the way you're able to get that leather folded around the end is you get it really smooth. Like I have a hard time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you hot? Are you using hot water there, or are you doing cold water? What are you doing?
Me?
No, Josh.
Yeah, Josh. I was like, what?
Oh, yeah, hot water.
We're
just
talking
do hot
about
water.
you, Josh.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We're saying
right.
your stuff's good. Talk about it.
Sorry, I've ingested a lot of drugs in the past.
I need to
hour.
ingest more.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, no, mine's up.
Oh God.
So I'll put the leather in hot water, and I'll often soak it completely through.
Yeah.
And then pinch it with clamps. Shape it where I need it.
Mm-hmm.
I always oversize my cutout dimensions. That way I can glue it, pinch it down, and then cut as I go while thumb pressing it over and over away the whole time. And then I'll wait until it dries, which will give me the hollow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then swab the inside, stick it back on, and then trim down from there. I've only done like 3 or 4 like that, but they've, the first one, like, just like you were saying, Colton, the first one's always a nightmare. We're like, crap, what's working? You get lost in the process, and you're like, okay, it's starting to look good. Okay, we're good. Yeah. And then, by the second, third one, it's like, okay, this is pretty standardized process. No surprises anywhere. So it always helps with a thin down tip, obviously, because if you start with a 3/4 blunt on the end, you've now got almost an inch thick of like leather clump on there.
Yeah. So I think I'm probably going to try to stick with leather shapes on mine for a bit.
Yeah,
sure.
Until I can get figure out a quick, easy way to, or maybe I can find some like a source for some of the horseshoe shapes that are pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then again, there's that same problem of just like, if we source them, we're paying somebody else to do it, and that just adds to the cost again. Because, like, I've seen them all over the place. Well, not all over. I've seen them around, but they're always expensive. Because it's like, it's not a mass-produced object. It's like,
But it'd be cheaper for us to source it from someone else than it would to do it ourselves. But I still really like doing all the work myself too.
I do too.
Yeah.
Like, I like saying, like, I made this all the way start to finish. So
once we get to a certain point, I'm sure I'll be more than happy to go, let's source this and create a standardized line that's X amount of dollars that's happy for everyone, and then I'll work on all the custom stuff I want to work on over here.
No, that'd be awesome. But
most of the swords that I do, are like late 1200s and up. And those scabbards, at least again, and I hope someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's usually no wool liner. It's just wood scabbard, and then the shapes are usually non-existent. Or they're leather.
Right.
Oh, what's also interesting is a lot of historical scabbards, they're not leather; they're cloth over the wood, and we don't see that. And nobody does that these days, right? But it's usually a lot of brocade patterns right over the wood, and no modern maker does that. So maybe we can try that. I don't know.
Here's kind of like a ignorance question here. Would that fabric have cost a lot more than the leather, or vice versa?
I think it would have cost more.
It seems like the fabric would have cost a lot more, right?
Yeah. So you'll see it on fancier blades, right?
Yeah.
Rapiers, hanging rapiers, and what have you.
Especially rapiers. Yeah. So most rapier hangers that you see now in leather would usually be a brocade fabric. It probably was a lot more expensive.
Seems like it would have been, but
right?
Yeah. It's always just the time. Just how much time does it take you to make it, and that's kind of how much it costs. So,
yeah, I wonder if Brian Kuntz has ever thought about doing a brocade scabbard, because he does it really high end. But I mean, his look brocade, they're so beautiful. So
yeah, they are.
Yeah. Okay, so lots to think about scabbard wise. So in Phoenix coming up, so I'll be doing the cutting competition And then Josh, you'll be there as well, right?
Yeah, may as well.
Are you driving down to that or flying?
Flying, I think. I think flying would be the better option because it takes like an hour and 40 minutes to fly down there from Salt Lake.
I mean, depending on how much stuff you want to bring. Like if you're bringing the grid wall and
Oh no, I wouldn't
none
bring
of
the
that.
grid wall.
Okay,
No.
I've never been to this, so I have no idea.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a 10-hour drive. If you wanted to drive, it's
Okay.
10 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, worth
Yeah.
flying, I think. So
Okay.
I'd definitely fly. Yeah.
What?
You gonna be able to make it?
I will have to look into that. We
So
shall see.
January
It'd be fun.
14th, right? 14th to 15th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the tournament's only one day. But I guess flying on the 13th and fly out the 15th.
Yeah, I'm excited to go. I actually really want to attend. I had a lot more fun at the Salt Lake Open than I originally estimated I would. In my mind, because I try and operate with a very frugal business mentality, but I also show up and have fun. But I figured it was going to be the first annual. It was going to be small. It was going to be Salt Lake, so it was going to be local as well. But just don't expect too much. You'll love it. And then I had a blast, man, watching all the competitors. Oh, so many good fights. We had to stand up on our chairs to see what was going on half the time. But I loved it. So going to that one, I was like, And usually I'm stuck behind the booth. So being able to see it was just like, oh, okay. This is like my MMA. It's like my boxing.
Yeah.
It's my sports stars.
Yeah. What's funny is Salt Lake is just sparring, no cutting.
Yeah.
Phoenix is the exact opposite. No, all cutting,
Right.
no fighting. So
I like cutting is just as good.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious how many different cutting. I guess I can go on and probably look, but I'm really curious how many different cutting like tournaments, like how many different brackets they have. Like you have arming sword, long sword, maybe a combination.
Right.
Like I wonder if you have any messer cutting or longs messer cutting. That would be cool. Or saber cutting.
Yeah,
that would be cool. So I'm not sure. I'm sure they have it on their webpage. I just haven't checked yet. I need to get on there, so I need to actually register before it's. Hopefully, I still can. Yeah, I'm excited for it. And this will be the first time I'm in advanced cutting. So the first time I ever did any longsword cutting, or actually any HEMA cutting in a tournament, was at Combat Con this year. But I've done competitions for Chinese cutting before, but nowhere near as big as like a Combat Con. And we usually cut water bottles and other stuff, not tatami mats, so because we couldn't afford them. So that was my first time competing cutting tatami, especially doing like double cuts. In Chinese swordsmanship, we don't care about that, right? It's a single hand blade, and you're doing specific cuts. You're not doing specialty fun cuts, which I think is a lot more fun.
That's all I do. All I do is specialty fun cuts.
Yeah, as we can tell from the awesome video.
What's the classification for a pumpkin cut? What is that under?
I don't know. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's the awesome category. Register under that one.
Yeah. I'm also looking forward to Gainesville. Gainesville, it's going to be fun. Hogtown.
We couldn't do Hogtown last year because we had no stock because we sold out of everything in December of that year, and I felt bad. I had to call Sunny, the lady who runs Hogtown, and said, we've been there for how many years in a row, and we love it. Hogtown really made Sterling Armory big here in Florida,
right?
And or one of the ones, and
we had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
a lot of mead bottles went missing.
So I felt bad that I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Like, I could show up and talk about my blades, but I don't have any. So they're all sold out, and I didn't have enough time to get blades done before then. So, but now the first weekend of Hogtown overlaps that Phoenix show, so I don't think we're going to be able to do the first weekend, but there's still 2 more, so we'll do the last 2 weekends of Hogtown, hopefully, if they let us do that. And
we'll try and make it work. I'm sure there'll be someone local in Florida that's cool with
And then right after that, we get 2 weeks off. Or no, we get 1 week off, and then it's, if we do it, SoCal Sword Fight, flying out to, I think they're in LA, right? SoCal.
Yep. Yeah, I think
or
so.
San Diego. I don't know.
California. I know it's in
So
California.
they're saying that might be even bigger than Combat Con with the numbers they have right now. So
I don't know if I'm ready for something bigger than Combat Con.
no, you're right. Yeah,
I'm such a country bumpkin. I
keep forgetting.
So many people.
Phoenix. Yeah, Josh, I think you forgot as well. So Phoenix is the last event that Angus Trim's coming up to.
Correct. Yeah. Well, if he gets to, I think he's mentioned that if he attends, this is probably the last one he's going to.
And
So
and even if he's there or not, he's going to have
yeah.
They'll have his blades out there. So I think he said about 15, 16 blades.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of Angus Trim, which everyone I think that I know is,
I think everyone is. Yeah.
Then grab one of those, while they're there, including one of ours. Make sure you get one of ours.
Right.
But yeah, so I'd be excited. I told him, I was messaging him like, hey, it'll be great to see you. Last time we saw him was Combat Con.
2020 or 2019, 2018. It was the first one we did. Is the one he was there.
Yeah. Well,
he wasn't the second one.
No, yeah, he wasn't. That's right.
No, he wasn't the second one.
So yeah, it'd be good to see him. We talk online, somewhat often on Facebook and stuff, but seeing him in person is a bit different. So yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, I think that's all we have for tonight. I am excited to talk about more cutting stuff though coming up with future episodes, especially with you guys getting to cut a lot more now. And
Oh, stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's gonna get weirder.
Colton, keeping that Viking blade, or is that out for sale?
It is for sale. It is. It's always kind of a hard one. I was like, I really like this. That one was kind of an up and down for me. Like the process, I was just like, oh, this is cool, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna do this, and oh, I don't know, and I just kind of all over the place with it, and then it came together at the very end. It's like, wow, this is actually really cool. So now I kind of want it. But
right. No,
it was interesting to observe because you would come over a couple days in a row while you were in the midst of making it, and you were an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, oh, this grind just isn't like I'm not getting this feather in right, and I'm just,
I hate it.
Oh, this isn't good. And then I come back the next day, and I'm like, dude, check this out. This is awesome. And
I fucking love this.
And then I come back the next day, and I'm like, oh, this guard just. It's just not quite right. And then the next day, I'm like, wait, it all came together.
What? Oh, no, I told the guy I wouldn't sell it to him. I told him to go to hell, and I don't have a friend anymore. So,
when I was doing my rapier, Josh can tell you, I don't know how many times I threw that thing across the room.
That basket hilt got stuck in the wall a few times in the sheetrock in the old shop.
Hey, I mean, that's a testament to how well it was made, right?
Yeah.
Yep. There it is, that beast.
Yeah.
That's the one that broke the D guard off of my cup hilt behind me. That one there.
That was a pain in the ass doing the can't really see it, but the musketeer etching in it.
Yeah.
That's yet another super popular sellers and incredibly annoying and time consuming to make.
Well, and that we don't have to get into it too much, but like I really would like to get back into making more rapiers, and I'm just not set up for it now that I've got shops. And I'm just
I think the next episode will be rapiers. Why they're a bunch of bastards.
It's so fun to make. Like I love making it. It's not my go-to sword, like of what I want to have.
Same, but it's really hard to argue with the end result of that swept hilt. Oh, it just looks so good.
Well, and I just get lost in the process of like making it all line up and flow, and I'm like, oh, I love it. And then I'm at the end, I was like, this is glorious, and then I pick up a two-handed broadsword, and I'm like,
I love making rapier blades, but I can't stand making the hilts.
Yeah.
So if you want to make hilts, I will.
Hey, like I just said, I'm not set up to do it yet. So
soon.
I know I'd really like to again.
If you can get a TIG, it's a whole lot nicer than making everything and getting splattered everywhere.
I've been looking into them, but again, it's just like I mean, like my shop is pretty limited on space to set up for welding inside there, and then also I have to buy one. So
I had a buddy of mine who, so in my normal work in aerospace, we work with some specialty welders, and that's all they do is weld for specialty crazy stuff. So I did it when I did a titanium cap shield. They're the ones who actually did the titanium welding for the handles in the back. And one of the guys took it upon himself. He just wanted to make a rapier cage, and he did. And there was no filler wire in that entire cage. He was able to TIG and parent metal to parent metal every piece, and he didn't need to clean anything. It was no cleanup. It's like, and he couldn't tell the thing was welded. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's such an art right there. And if I could, I told him, I was like, you should just make swords. And he's like, nah, I just wanted to do one. So
Sure.
What a waste.
He didn't get the bug.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can TIG, that's the way to go. But learning that is it's a lot of time learning that stuff.
Well, so I can TIG weld. I'm actually pretty proficient in it, but
Are you? So can you do like just parent metal to parent metal without filler? Oh wow.
Well, so I mean, like, not to go into this too much. I was actually the state champion welder in Utah, and then I went and competed in nationals, and I was like somewhere in like the 15th or something in nationals for.
Damn it, Colton!
Well, and so that was for stick welding, MIG welding, TIG welding, aluminum, stainless, and cutting.
So you heard it here, folks. Colton is our rapier maker.
Yep.
I would love to do it, and I'm pretty good at the little finesse of the welding. So it's like, and I'm not saying that I'm gonna come anywhere close to your specialty welders back there with titaniums and but like I can throw metal together with the TIG. So I just need to get one and set up to do it.
Good.
I think we need to chip in and get Colton a TIG welder. Yeah.
Well, like I was saying, like they're not that expensive. There's a couple good ones out there in the $500 to $700 range, which would be plenty for what we're trying to do. I just don't have space, and I am not super comfortable welding inside of my shop right now. Like it's not.
I wouldn't at all.
Exactly. So I'm just like, I'm either going to be outside in the cold, or I'm not going to be doing it until I get into a different space. So it kind of just sucks. Like I'd love to do it, and I really enjoy it, but it's just not in the cards right now. So
it sounds like next time I'm out there,
we need to get a shop.
Yeah,
big warehouse space.
You damn right. Yep.
That's true. So, alrighty, well, let's. I need to go get more medicine.
Get it off.
There.
I might have a nap.
Yeah.
I think it's just bedtime at this point in the night, right?
It is. Yeah, it's 10:30 my time. So
close to it.
And when I'm sick, bedtime was like an hour ago. But yes, if you're with us still, thanks for hanging out and hanging out and listening and enjoying the conversation. So real quick, you want to do some quick outros?
Okay.
There's Josh. You fell asleep.
Yeah, he did. He's out.
Blacking out.
So Colton, go ahead.
Okay, I'm on it. Okay, yeah. So again, I'm Colton from Copperthorn Customs and Sterling Armory. I just all around love making swords and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. I just like to make things. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Sterling Armory.
And all those links will be below. Although I don't think I have your TikTok link.
You can find it through Facebook or Instagram if you really want to go find it.
Yep. Warbear, that's me.
Yeah.
Making swords.
Yeah, we just did a highlight on Warbear, so the next highlight's going to be on that guy.
Yeah, Colton. Yep. Yeah,
that's straight out there. I like that one.
Yeah, that was good.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Yeah,
there's nothing left in the tank.
And again, I'm Chris, Sterling Armory, on Facebook, Instagram, and obviously YouTube if you're here watching us. And please like and share, and really any likes or shares or comments. We try to reply to every comment that you guys do, and I don't think we've missed one yet. But we love the interaction, and we're probably going to try to do a live sometime soon. And
come hang out.
It seems like we keep saying it, like at this show we're going to do a live, and then it doesn't happen.
Right.
We need to do it at the next one.
Yeah, so we might just do a live through StreamYard.
We could totally do that.
So I think we have to figure out how to do it first, don't we?
Oh,
yeah. Basically, with Thomas, hopefully, can figure out how to do it. Or Thomas can run it for us. If he has time. And so hopefully you're finding us on online somewhere. And yeah, and we're slowly collaborating all of our pages to link to each other, and that's also a process. So yeah, it takes time. But yeah, thank you very much for joining, guys, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.